watch Speed go to Africa before you realize that Africa is much more than just poverty, dirt, and huts, then congratulations, you finally caught up to what Africa really is and woken up from your racist delusion. You see, Speed just launched a brand new huge project, Speed Goes to Africa, which is a 28-day tour across 20 African countries where he live broadcasts every step of the way. Now, the tour began in Angola, December 29th, 2025, and is actually scheduled to run all through January, finishing January 26th in 2026. Now, what's very interesting to watch is not just his clips from the tour, it's quite frankly all of your reactions, as many people still view Africa as only being poor, underdeveloped, and rural, even though that could not be further from the case. That view is very outdated and inaccurate, and that is shown very clearly in Speed streams. And so if Speed in Africa is shocking you, it's not because Africa just changed overnight. No, it's because the stereotype of Africa that you have been painstakingly spoon-fed all your life is finally collapsing.
So welcome to the show. Welcome to the show with Napasha Dot and the Rise channel, also HOK. So what do you think about this new thing? What do you think?
Oh, yeah. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. Peace to everybody. Peace to Alchemizing Energy, DJ Genesis audience, and to, of course, the HOK Coliseum audience. We're trying something new here. So Genesis is going to be running this entire show. It's coming from her channel. Go subscribe. But I didn't want to let our audience down because this is going to be a great topic. So I am doing this on the Coliseum. Come on in, hit the like, and get ready to hit the link too. When you hit the link, Genesis is going to be working the panel. So just let everybody know that. Now, I show Speed. Yeah, my children have been fans of, especially my son mostly, of like a fan of Speed for I don't even know how long. It's been years and years and years. So I have a lot to talk about. I think this is interesting. We're going to talk about how people have a misconception of Africa. Yes. But I know we're also going to talk about how Speed himself had a misconception of Africa and how he was often self-deprecating, making fun of slavery, making fun of himself as a black person, a black young man. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting, complex, multifaceted topic.
Yeah, and you know what, without further ado, I want to show some of the images of what was happening when, he went to other countries and how he was being treated. Without further ado, let's get into that because he was being it was just pretty bad.
And before you show that though, we got to let people know he set himself up for this type of audience. He often, he's a gamer. He started out as doing video games, not really picking up so much speed. So no pun intended, until he started doing wild things like calling himself, YAG, YAG, making very self-deprecating references to himself, acting like he's doing oral on men, saying he wants to get it in the backside, saying, "Oh, massa, can I please stop work?" Like when long, you like, "Massa, can I please stop working? I don't want to pick cotton. I don't want to pick cotton anymore, massa." And of course, when you coon and when you self-deprecate, especially as a black person, everybody that is already misunderstanding slavery, misunderstanding you, picking up on those stereotypes, like Asians, especially China, Japan, and these European countries, that is how he got a lot of following. People thought he was hilarious.
Listen, this is like, I'm not a big I Show Speed follower. It just was interesting to me when I found this out. I've seen him a few times. My kids watch him, but they're not really into him like that. So Nepal was one who really opened my eyes to the things that he was doing in the past. I did see that video with his brother where they were whatever that song was, and it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
they were minors. I want to point that they were minors, and their parents let them do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's go into some of the deprecating things that have happened, and based on his audience, how he has done. how this has caused some issues. Let's go.
Trying to show love. Because in number 7, some go way too far with hate.
The f you just say?
Racism like that happens way too often towards Speed. From online fans making him end stream with their racist donations.
Speed as a cotton or super chatted $5.57.
No way you just donated that.
Speed, I love your content. It really helps me with struggles in my life. Give me some cotton.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
To American fans just being straight hateful towards him.
What? The f you just say? What the hell? What's wrong with you? Show his face.
Even all that is nothing compared to the racism Speed's faced overseas. From hundreds of Serbian fans screaming monkey noises and even slurs at him.
What?
To fans all over Europe giving him bananas and all sorts of racist sounding candies.
We know you like it.
But by far, the worst racism that Speed's faced was when he visited China.
We are here in China.
Fans were blasting the N-word,
Speak Chinese.
handing him literal cotton,
This is for you. What is this? It's a coconut. Why did you give me cotton?
and one fan took things to a whole new level by even threatening Speed's life.
You said what?
I'm racist. I'm a killer. I'm so sorry about that.
What? Wait. I don't think you understand what you're saying. Do you speak English?
Yes, I am racist.
What? What the f? Bro, hell no. What the f is he saying?
That is not okay. No one deserves that type of hate. But listen, at number 6, after a fan got invited on a Speed's tour bus, he did something so weird.
I mean, this is like the type of stuff that has happened, and it's kind of the whole thing, is very strange. like what? Like, why would someone even subject themselves to that kind of ridicule and then still be? I would have just been like, okay, book my flight up out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So do you see they're saying that kind of hatred? These people are smiling, hugging him and laughing and saying, I am racist, because he put it out there like that. Get it? And the way he's always like, what? He's acting, that's cap. He knows that he puts himself out there in a self-deprecating way. That's why you see them like, oh, I love you, Steve. Or Speed, I gave you some cotton. They have smiles on their face. It's not hatred. So
because they think that that's the way to go. That this is normal.
yeah, because that's the way he's been doing. So that's why it's like, I love you. Remember when the donation was like, you helped me get through my life. Thank you. Here's some cotton. He is the one who said, Massa, please, I don't want to pick cotton anymore. And when he's joking around, he did it. He started it. Now, maybe he's regretting it, and I respect that he's growing. But to sit here and be like, oh, these racist people against him, that's his whole fan base. That's how he got famous.
Yeah, and it seems like it's really dangerous, like with these crowds overseas, like because they get kind of crazy. Watch this.
As wild as number 5, where a fan got so hyped to see Speed, he hurt his own kid.
Yo, shut out.
Speed's fans were all yelling child abuse, and for good reason, after seeing this crazy clip.
Hey, how does he do it? How does he do it? 1, 2, 3. Boom! Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you. Look at it. He's Kobe. Hey, Jordan. This is Jordan. Yo, shut out. It's okay, chill.
Thankfully, Speed was able to calm that man down.
Pause it for me. Wait. No, he's cap. I don't respect Speed though. Stop it, because you do this shit you made these people like this. You see the guy hugging him? You see how he's acting all confused? That's for him. But he made these people, like, he brought out the worst in the people that was already there. I'm not saying they're not responsible, but like the guy Speed's in his persona with Speed as a character, as a presenter, he's down with that stuff. You see the video. You should show that. I don't know. We might get in trouble. He has that video with his little brother violently acting like he's violently doing oral on a man. And he does stuff like he just does a lot of stuff. Speed is not the most honest person. He did get busted for scamming. He did get busted because he got a hot mic once.
Scamming?
I don't know. Like, they were doing this it was like a little Ponzi scheme kind of scam he came in, some guys, okay, just for the record, he wasn't the first one who initiated, but some guys, some scam artist guys, I don't remember what they were trying to get people to do, but they were just doing some BS scam. And then they brought Speed in and he's like, yeah, I'm down with it, because they were like, you could get so much money, just say this and this, but it's not really going to happen or something. When they thought the mic was off, the mic was hot and it was on, and Speed was like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'll just I'll do this and this. And then he almost got canceled for that. Peace, Rakufu. He almost got canceled because so I'm trying to just give you an idea, like, yeah, he's a young Black man. I support him if he's trying to change, but he's going to have to come out and say, especially since I've been to Africa and I'm growing, I'd like to say that I apologize for all the terrible things I said about slavery, about myself as a Black man, the way I make fun of myself, saying, please he said, please grate me. He would say stuff like screaming, please grate me in my in my behind, please grate me. And he's like, oh, massa, please, can I stop picking cotton? So he made this audience. They're the ones who got him his money and fame.
Right. So he used racism in a way to like kind of gather, and the people that's overseas, that's mainly his audience, they don't even realize that this is a racist thing that's going on.
Yeah, and they don't know anything about slavery. He didn't educate China and Serbia about slavery. The monkey sounds, he does that.
Oh, I'm racist. I love your speech. I'm racist.
Yeah. She's like, I love you. I'm an NIGGA killer.
A nigga. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I don't excuse the world for being ignorant, but it's definitely not hate. Those people would kill for him. They love him. He's the one who's responsible. So now he's in Africa. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he comes out. Let's see if he says, I feel so ashamed of what I did. That's what I want to hear. But I'm not going to be feeling bad about him going over there and getting those, like how he's looking around like all shocked that he's getting the monkey sounds and the bananas. He's not shocked. They tell him, he has people who coach him saying, don't get too upset, but still don't be laughing, because then you'll lose your Black fan base. So just kind of act shocked, but that's all, keep going to all these countries. Because he wouldn't even go. Like you said, remember, he'd be like, I'm out of here. He never says I'm out of here. He stays around.
Yeah.
Rakufu might want to add in before you start, because Rakufu hit the panel.
Go ahead,
I basically want to just listen, because I'm trying to get to the point where you guys start dealing with the African aspects of his trip.
Right. So
okay, yeah. And I'm sorry, 1 second, Genesis. And Rakufu, you could start doing your chat GPT and asking about Speed, so you can give some background on that. Now, that is definitely something that will be accurate in ChatGPT, because he's not an innocent. It's not like you or Genesis going and people are like, hey, here's some bananas. He facilitated that and promoted it. He cooned so hard. So that's my point. Anyway, sorry, just go ahead.
What's his name? I am Speed, right?
I show Speed. I show Speed.
Right.
So let me play a little bit of like how like big his audience is and how insane they get. Let's go.
And land those fans up to 6 months in jail. Those fans weren't actually trying to kill Speed like these next fans were. Now, even though everything seemed to be going well at first, with Speed turning himself into a Viking.
Oh yeah, chat. W real. I'm a Viking for real, chat.
While Speed was having his fun, a ridiculously large crowd started gathering around outside.
Look, chat. Look how much people it is over there. Unbelievable. Bro, there's literally probably 1,000 people. I'm not even trolling. Get back! Get back! Get back! Hey, up! Oh my God! Stop it! Calm down! Stop it! Calm down! Stop! Chill! Calm down! Chill!
Now, even though that many fans showing up would normally be cool, these fans started blocking the streets.
That's hilarious to think that just because he said stop, that they would actually stop. That's crazy.
And it's just like, wait 1 second. It's just like Michael Jackson, the Beatles. It's not like they want to see, though this commentator is all cap. They want to kill him. They're so crazy about him. They love him. They love this guy. So everything you hear them say is because they think he likes it, because he's promoted it through himself. Get it?
Yeah, it actually says I Show Speed, real name Darren Jason Watkins Jr., is a YouTuber, live streamer, and internet entertainer
known for high energy, unpredictable streams and viral moments.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
in real life, IRL, I think it's called IRL streaming. Yeah, and honey, you gotta see. I'm old as hell, and I don't even know all this. But my kids, they know about it. But yeah.
It said his whole thing, in short, extreme reactions in comedy, loud, impulsive, meme, heavy humor that clips well. Live streaming culture, most fame comes from live, unscripted moments. Gaming origins, blah 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 blah.
Did you hear how he said extreme, like clippy? Because that's what, and it's mostly, let's talk. It's a mostly self-deprecating, racially based, or calling him. He talks and calls himself a homosexual, but in a very derogatory way. So that's the way he gets clipped.
I would want to play some of those, but I'm not trying to get my channel.
It's so bad. So he'll be saying stuff like, please, screaming like, grape me in my butt, but he used the ASS word, and he'll be like, I love to get graped in the ASS, and while he's playing
video games, right? He's playing the video game, and
while he's getting mad at the video games, and then he'll say stuff like, when he's playing, it's always when he's playing video games, like, Massa, please let me stop working. I'm a tired slave, Massa. So what do you expect?
Right. Right.
Making fun of slavery. Go ahead.
Hotspot Casino, did you have something to say?
I'm just going to wait till we really get in the thick of things, and then I'll contribute.
Okay, so we're going to get into this is the amount of audience that he has, the crowd that he has, the influence he has, and how even there it got kind of out of control.
Inside the building.
Damn, bro. So what? How can we leave then, bro? I might just call the police, bro. I'm here. We gotta just call the police, bro.
Police immediately started rushing over, and with Speed still trapped inside, he tried to make the best of their situation by doing his iconic suey with his fans through the window. As soon as he did,
I gotta at least do one suey in Norway. Y'all ready for this? Oh, that was so funny! I think I just broke my ankle. Oh, what is y'all doing? Get stopped! The f is wrong with y'all? Oh, this is the worst day ever, bro.
As if things couldn't get any worse, now Speed desperately needed to go to a hospital, and with the police still not there, plus thousands of rabid fans outside, with no other options, Speed's bodyguard picked him up and tried saving the day.
Give me back! Give me back! Give me back! Give me back! Stop!
Oh my God! Fans were grabbing his hair, hitting him in the face, and one day they jumped on top of him. So
Can you please, Genesis? Let me just say this right here. Even this, when he wants a viral moment, he risked his life. I mean, come on, he has a team. This kid is worth millions. You mean to tell me this is what they did? They took him out into that raging crowd. You got to look at it from that perspective. Get it? There's no way he should have even been walked out there. You understand what I'm saying?
I think he twisted his ankle. We had to go to the hospital, but I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, but come on, he could have died out there.
Ankle or like being mobbed to death. Like,
thank you. Exactly. So see, it's all just really the bigger picture is not to, I said about him responsible and not doing this, but listen, look at how much money is hanging in front of his face as a young Black man. He has the opportunity now with his power and his voice to start speaking against these things that the media promotes against Black males. Okay. This is where he should stand up, and there should be a turning point. We're going to talk about the Africa because Genesis is going to get to that. But you see how he is now. Now he needs to start speaking against this kind of how do you say, exploitation of Black males.
Right, and it's crazy. It's like, if they like him, why are they pulling his hair? What is going on?
And one fan even jumped on top of him. So that's why after somehow getting back to his car, Speed said he's never going back to Norway ever again.
I don't think I'll ever come here again, bro. I'm not even trolling. I love all my Norway fans, but bro, I don't think I've ever been to a country where they don't listen at all. Like, bro, I've been to every country and it's been lit, turned, crowds. But that was just pure, it was unhuman, bro. Somebody pulled my hair and some random dude did a WWE move and jumped on me. Nah, bro. Norway, I'm sorry, bro. I don't think I'll ever be back here again.
And I don't even blame Speed. Those fans took it way too far.
Did the fans take it too far, or because the rhetoric was too far? Like, is that what?
Yeah, thank you. No, the fans didn't take it too far. They're crazy about him. Fans act like that with Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson would never say he won't go back to Norway. And the irony is Norway has the lowest crime rate. Yeah, they're saying, I didn't even see did you hear them saying the N-word and stuff there? No, right?
No,
and there's more. You saw a lot of black people in that audience, right? Isn't that ironic? Oh, you won't come back to this. Yeah, I know Norway is predominantly Caucasian, so don't come in here saying, oh, you don't know. But I'm saying with his fan base, you see a lot of black fans there. But he's saying he's not going back. Why? Why are you not going back there? But you'll go back to Serbia where they're doing monkey sounds and throwing bananas at you.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
In the gaming world, it's very, very racist. And when he's traveling and doing all these things, I'm pretty sure he's aware of it. And so I can understand why he wouldn't go back to Norway. You know, a lot of these other nationalities have a tendency to want to touch our hair and pull on us and tug on us as if we're some type of spectacle, something that is inhumane. And so that's the thing about the gaming world. And some of these people may even be jealous of him because of his success and he's black. So he probably notices that, but I don't think his mind is mature enough to even give it a glance at what's really going on in his reality. That's a problem.
Are you familiar with him?
Somewhat. I don't watch his content like that. I did watch, what he did with Tom Brady and stuff like that, but I don't watch his content like that. But I do know he was dating an Asian chick.
Yep.
And stuff like that. They fell out, all that stuff. Just stupid little things here and there.
He says a lot of self-deprecating things. And yeah, he talks about himself as a black man. He makes fun of slavery. He calls himself the one that bothered me the most is the one where he's acting like he's begging massa to stop working and picking cotton. That was so unbelievably vile that we still the world still lets people make fun of real people were worked to death, literally.
Yeah.
In slavery.
And I'm wondering why
he
is he
makes
over in
fun of
Africa?
that. Yeah, we're going to find that out. But I just want to let you know the background on him. Yeah, they're touching on him and everything, but they actually love him. He's put himself out there. That's how he got famous. And you're right. You're absolutely 100% right about the gaming world being racist. That's why he was so successful. You're absolutely right. That's why he's an icon, because he knew he's like, well, I'm a black man. I'm trying to make it in the gaming world. The only way he could really make it this big is to call himself. He's done the stuff like made the monkey references. He's done the things where he said he should be a slave. He's made fun of himself as a black man, saying, please grate me in that goes back to slavery as well. They did a lot of buck breaking. Yeah. So anyway.
And like the person said in the comment section, he is a puppet, and here's what they're going to do. They're going to make sure that they distract him so that he can't know self, so that they can continue to push propaganda and make Africa something that it should not be.
Good point. Wait, I want to say real quick, that's a good point, because guess what? We're watching him as black, informed African Americans, whatever you want to call yourself. We're watching him to see, now you're in Africa. Are you going to come back out and say, hey, I was terrible to talk about my people? Are you going to take a stance now that you have this power? That's what I'm looking for. Go. Thank you, Genesis. Go.
Right. So I want to get into his Africa trip, and let's see what people are saying.
I'm just thinking about this city, this country. You see so many beautiful things. It kind of makes you don't even want to leave, It doesn't really want to. It really makes you don't want to leave. What the hell? It's hella kids in South Africa, chat. Chat, where they come from, bro? How did all these kids come out of nowhere, dog? What song is it?
Y'all probably wondering why I'm crying. I've been watching Speed streams, and I'm seeing all the love that he's getting in Angola. He's in South Africa, and he's getting massive amount of love. And the way that he was treated in Europe was disgusting. But to see him be a Black man from the United States of African descent and be able to go back to the continent and be treated like a human by civilized African people, when we've been taught that Africa is primitive, that it's dangerous, don't go back, they have this, they have that, they don't want you, they don't like you. And to see an African American man with his stature go back to the motherland and be treated with so much respect. This is what our people fought for. This is what they fought for when they fought against Jim Crow and segregation. This is what the slave revolts were about. This is what it's always been about. Is to be able to go back home to a home that you've never been and be unapologetically Black and not have to think about being Black. Just being able to have your natural hair and your brown skin and not be judged and not be racially profiled and not be killed. I love the love that he is getting. And I love the love that all of my African American people are getting in the continent. And I know there's a lot of issues. I know there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. But I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And I love that for him. And I love that for all of my people that are over there. And I can't wait to hit the soil and experience it myself.
Hey, let me ask you, shout out to her. Much love to that sister. I actually was getting a little choked up when I was watching him with the people, because I really hope that he feels so remorseful. I pray that he just feels so remorseful. I know we know about Step and Fetchin'. We know about the history, Amos and Andy. We know the cooning, all that. We know what America is about. We know what media is about. We know about bucking the big saucer eyes and the what's up, boss? We understand that. Okay, we'll forgive him for all that because he got the power, like she said. I really hope he comes back and stops cooning. And I'm not just saying he's gonna come back and stop saying the racist stuff about the direct racist stuff. Stop talking about how you want to get graped in the behind. I really love to see the beauty that Africans showed compared to the rest of the world. That is so beautiful. So I just wanted to add that. I feel for him. I hope as a Black man, a young Black man, he comes back with shame, humility, and makes a change and makes a stand for Black people. And he exposes Black media, that he was being used. The strongest man in the world is being used by the media in every single way to destroy himself, to destroy his families, to destroy his women. We're going to talk about that later, Genesis and I. So I just want to say I feel her too. I felt emotional. Thank you for letting me go that long. But Speed, come back and stop the madness. Thank you.
All right. So did you want to see another video, or did anybody else want to make a statement about that previous video? Okay, so we'll go to the next video because there's a lot.
Wait a minute, Genesis. I did want to say something.
Go ahead.
It just, for me personally, the whole African American family as a whole kind of was and the stuff I work through right now. It's a letdown to see them say the ones that saying we not African, based on my generation I grew up in with the movie Roots and the struggle and how it was such a problem in the high schools. Blacks was going off, the biggest series. We had the name Kunta, but then the next generation, Everybody was naming themselves Muhammad, Hebrew, Arab, anything but Kunta. I never heard of Kunta, a child named Kunta. No pride in our African root. It's just very let downful. But when I study the history, I'm just so proud. I'm going to make the struggle continue through my seed.
Okay.
That was it.
I remember that. I'm with you, Rakufu. And don't forget they dragged Alex Haley's name through the mud. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
Ruth was a big part of our culture as children. Yeah. It was a huge part of our culture.
Yes, I remember Roots. So let's go.
Yeah.
Man,
that was one of the best movies.
He never
wrote
that book.
Best movies we ever
Such
had.
a poor country, bro. Such a place you wouldn't want to be in, bro. And Speed is single-handedly changed.
I'm sorry. What did someone want to say something? Did someone want to make a point?
No, I'm just saying the original Roots movie. I don't care what anybody says. That's life-changing. Shoot.
Yeah, he never wrote that book.
At Choctaw Goddess, I'm sorry, but we are Africans. We're from Africa, whether you like it or not. I know you hate to hear it, but part of that FBA movement is agent talk. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's very divisive, and it's for a specific reason. That's why I don't trust that Tariq, because right now we don't have the time to play around and be divisive when we're trying to get Africa all together. We need to starve these people out of resources as far as Europe is concerned in the West. So we got to stick together because they're trying to get rid of us.
Also, Alex Haley never wrote that book.
I know that's why I said he was being dragged through the mud, because they say he didn't write that book. 1 second. Can I just say something to my audience? 100% Metatron, adverse childhood experiences. We all have experienced them. We all are survivors of. Everyone existing has had ACEs. It's just that he's had more than others. It's a fact that Black, African American, or whatever you want to call yourself, I'm talking about U.S. citizens and abroad, the progeny of the slave trade. We have higher ACEs than others in the West. And I don't know about on other continents, but in North America, I do want to also talk about historical intergenerational traumas. Yes, 100%. Dr. Joy Degree talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome. So 100%, that's a great comment. Thank you so much for letting me jump in. Oh, yes, I do know that, Reverend Green, about Alex Haley. That's what I was saying. People say he didn't write it.
And one thing about him writing the book, though, it's a lot of controversy. Parts of it was took from an older book written by white authors, but some parts was of his family. I believe that the Kunta story was a DNA test they found in Gambia of his family there. So parts of the book was part, the parts about Kunta was supposedly real, but the other parts was add on from another book that was written at that time. But I'm talking about the main story of us coming from Africa, from the first people when we were ever named. Most African Americans are not confused about being African. The first name we was called was African. Everything else, even we talked about this the other day. Every one of those FBAs take a sickle cell test trait. I guarantee they got traits of West African. They have no excuse for that.
Also, sir, I just want to point out, Roots was a good story, just like how Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was a great album, but she didn't write that, just like Alex Haley didn't write Roots.
Okay, and you say that to say just that, or just so we got to discard? What are you saying that to say?
Saying that there was ghostwriters and it wasn't them. That's why they never dropped any. That's why they never dropped anything else after that.
Okay,
but what about this? Let me excuse me, Rakufu. What about this? Is it accurate that Black African people were taken from the continent and enslaved in America? Is that accurate?
Is that for
Reverend
me?
Green? Yes.
Yes, there was Africans who were sold by Africans, and they were shipped by the Europeans, Arabs, elsewhere.
To America, correct? To America.
To the new world.
I'm not trying to get away from that. No. Before you, Reverend Green, stay on track. Because you're talking about the movie. Hold on. You're talking about the movie. That's what I was saying about Alex Haley being dragged
to the new world.
Wait, okay, hold on. We're talking about the movie. So we understand that that's accurate and 100% true that happened. It's also true that their children were sold away from them during slavery, correct?
The Africans had slave raids on the,
No, no,
on
see,
the
see,
continent.
No, I'm gonna ask again. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you straight. I'm just gonna ask you straight.
Just like in the movie. Just like in the movie. The
Rakufu,
Africans.
you gotta learn how to do this.
Yes.
You gotta learn how to do this. Watch this, Rakufu. I'm gonna ask you that. I'm asking you this fact about the movie. In real life, did slaves have their children taken from them and sold to other slave masters on other plantations?
Yes. However,
great.
just
So-
like
so-
in the
so
movie,
far-
just
wait-
like in
wait
the
a minute.
movie, in the
Hey,
movie
just-
Roots.
So the point
In the
is
movie
that
Roots.
the movie.
One at a time. Go ahead, Nepal.
Yeah. So thank you. The point is, Reverend Green, whether or not Alex Haley wrote it, it's 100% absolute hardcore truth. And guess what? It wasn't even as nasty as it really, really happened in real life. See, the graping and the buck breaking and the being quartered, people being tied to 4 different horses, a man, arms and legs tied to 4 different horses and then pulled apart. That wasn't even depicted. People being worked to death and then their bodies just thrown on the side on the sugarcane fields. That wasn't depicted. So Roots was a great movie. It was like rated PG for a XXX movie that really happened in real, a situation that really happened in real life. That's our point. Whether Alex Haley wrote it all or if it was his family or not, it really happened, and even 100% worse. No, let's say.
Hey, Nepal, one thing you forgot to tell him was he mentioned that the Africans sold each other without mentioning, and then saying, and also at a lot of them was stolen and was kidnapped in raids. He never said. It's like he got a biased position against Africa.
Can I
It's
answer?
okay. I don't mind Rakufu. Real quick, Reverend Green. Rakufu, you're right. But guess what? We already know that there were Africans that were fooled into betraying each other. But hey, many times the same ones who sold somebody got sold themselves. Okay, you left that part out.
That's
Go ahead.
right.
Can I say something?
Also, I want to reply, and I understand the panel, and I can manage the panel. Everybody in the chat who's a full-blood American like me at FBA, I got this. But just like in the movie, the Roots, the miniseries, the TV miniseries, it began with the Africans conducting slave raids. For who? They were already doing it. And what they were doing with the slave raids, they sold Africans to others who were not African.
Everybody makes mistakes. Guess what? Who's benefiting? Who's benefiting? What country has benefited the most, or countries? But let's start with the main one. What countries benefited the most from slave industry, meaning the actual work that was done, the cotton picking, the building of the roads and the homes? What country benefited the most from that commerce? Did Africa benefit? Wait, did Africa or did America?
Africa did.
Oh, really? Okay, let me ask you a question. So why is not Africa the world leader, but U.S. is? So you can't get around it. The U.S.
Africa,
is
the continent.
U.S. is the world leader in commerce and industry. Don't
Isn't
play.
the continent too? Why do we keep talking about the continent? The continent? Okay, just because Africa is not divided into states versus countries, does that not mean that America is not a continent too? North America is a continent, So why are we every time we talk about Africa, you mean the continent? Well, the continent has many countries. Well, just because we name our states and they named their countries. Bottom line is that America is a continent, so North America is a continent just as much as Africa is a continent. So I don't even get the thing. And so one thing, Irv P78 says, one thing I haven't heard said is how Africans were told that they were traveling to Europe or Asia, and once they arrived, were then sold, enslaved, or tricked into traveling to North America.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the comment. I do want to get back to the truth. And this isn't anything personal. I'm also FBA, according to some friends of mine, but I know the truth about slavery. And the truth is that the country, this is why we say the West is the most industrialized, sir. We're the most industrialized. That means that we are the biggest, we are the strongest in commerce. We're the strongest. We're the world leader. We're the world leader. Okay, so when, again, America used thousands and thousands of people, just US alone. I'm not even talking about South America. I'm talking about the US. Thousands of people were used here to build this country. Thousands. You know, the husbandry, the farming, the construction of the buildings and the infrastructure. We built that. The foundational Black Americans, right? We built it.
Who are already here.
We came from Africa.
No, we weren't.
We came from Africa.
So let me hand the mic over. I'm going to hand the mic over. So I want to hear you. So nobody came from Africa and was enslaved in the United States, right?
That's not true. I'm gonna tell you why we know it's not true. I think it was maybe about 3 years ago. Fulton County found in like a courthouse, I think it was, they found over maybe 200 years of documents about slavery, the estates and wills. So that's how we know slavery did exist when it comes to, I think it was like 1840s. Also, we know that slavery existed because in Maryland, they had over 2,000, I would say about 2,000 pages of documents that were hidden in an attic that they were actually going to throw away. And it dates from the 1600s, from about slaves that were actually sold, and it had wills, it had different type of insurance situations going on. So yeah, we do know that slavery existed. It's just, we have to be able to accept the fact that we did come from Africa. As if you don't read and you don't know history, you'll be lost, because there's so many influences online that you can fall victim to, whether it be a Dan Calloway or a Tariq Nasheed. And we got to get away from that and do our research.
And peace to the panel. And I'll try to make my comment brief as possible. With all due respect, literally on this same channel yesterday, the host DJ Genesis said that when the Africans sold our African ancestors to Europeans, they were not selling their own people because they were from different tribes. So you cannot turn around and try to guilt trip us for not wanting to unify with these same Africans that you already admitted are not our people, with all due respect. Additionally, and this part is very important.
Let me speak to this, Genesis. Okay, so I hear what you said.
Even though you cut me off, but go ahead, bro. It's all right.
No, I hear what you. I know what line of vein you going down. And you got the Yoruba.
You let him finish though, Rob Kufu.
It's all right. Let him go. Let him go. We can go point for point.
I'll go. I'll stop though if you want to, bro.
No, go ahead. We'll go point for
Rob
point.
Kufu, come in.
Where's that song? Where are you gonna cut me off by Gautier? You're not playing that no more, Genesis?
Yeah, she's biased.
Just to the people out here listening in the general audience.
Like how you keep, when you continuously cut people off, that's when I play it. When someone's keep trying to make a point, you keep cutting. That's when I play it. But they were able to.
That's not true. But go ahead. Let him talk. Let him make his point.
And be able to.
So my point would be, as you guys come together and collectively become conscious of your so-called independence from Africa, where is that going to put you on the global stage? Are you going to lobby with your ex-European daddies to be a part of them? Or are you going to do some magic Superman trick and destroy all their stuff of power with your thoughts and your patterns? To break away from Africa that's like the worstest of sellouts that we could have.
Let me respond to you, brother.
when you can know that you got DNA from Africa and you know
Exactly.
and you know that's who you are, and yet you still try to go against it or try not to be one of the genius minds to
brother,
listen to
brother,
what I'm
we
saying,
get your
to
point,
be the
brother.
genius minds to bring it together, even though those in the past may have, like you say, Genesis said, well, I'm Yoruba, I'm Ashanti. Just like Europe, somebody had to be a genius mind. Well, I'm French, I'm English, white man. We got to come together.
Brother,
So
we get
can,
your point.
let me
Let
finish
me
the point.
respond,
That's
brother.
why you cut, because you know the
brother,
point is the fact.
you cut
The
me
fact
off,
of
brother.
the matter is, until
right,
we
go ahead.
collectively get that power and start building on a technological basis and look at the chess game for what it is, black against white on a global scale, we're going to be always with people like y'all, devisers.
That's not a word, but watch how brief my response.
I just made it up like we made up
exactly,
the word y'all.
brother.
Go
Have
look at the
some
dictionary.
decorum,
African
brother.
Americans,
Have some
before it came
decorum,
out, they
brother,
said that's not a
please.
word. Now it's a word.
DJ
It's called
Genesis, you
y'all,
gonna play that
y'all
clip?
and us. Y'all and
Are you
us.
gonna play the clip?
All right, reset.
Thank you.
Let's go. Who? All right, who's talking?
It's me, and it'll be so brief. Brother, if you didn't cut me off, I would have already addressed that diatribe that you went on preemptively. With all due respect, just like we have European ancestry, but the Europeans are not our allies, Africans, in spite of us sharing ancestry, are not our allies. They conspired with the Europeans against us during the transatlantic chattel slave trade, and I relinquished the floor.
It was no us. We were them. They conspired against themselves. Are you idiot or what?
Are the Europeans us too? Because
You're
we
not a
share
distinct
ancestry with
person.
them.
You wasn't over there distinctively different. This American
But brother,
oddity.
let's have the dialogue, brother. Don't be emotional. I'm asking, since we share ancestry with the Europeans, does that make us European?
Yeah, we are the whole world. The haplogroup L
So,
was the first.
so should we
haplogroup on
unify with
planet Earth.
Europeans? I'm asking, should we unify with Europeans?
That's the question I'm asking. Was you saying that's what we should do?
I said we have no allies, brother. So you say I directly answered your question. Are you able to answer
Well,
mine?
directly, we should ally. You say we don't have allies. I can show you time again where they marched in the street for our people since the 1800s. When y'all lie and say Africa never go to march for us,
brother, you might have forgot the question. I'm asking
that's
very
our
simple.
ally. That's our ally. You keep saying it's not,
brother. I'm asking a simple question. Since we have European ancestry, does that mean that we should unify with Europeans? Yes or no?
I just told you no. What is you?
All right. So use that same logic for Africans. You dumb nigga.
Use that same and keep pushing yourself on the island.
Keep the same energy, brother.
Even though you look like me, I'll be the first to get you.
The Europeans and the Africans
I don't care
conspired
what
against
y'all
us.
believe in. We are not the same.
Brother, you're too emotional,
in
brother.
this big picture, your people are the sellouts.
All right, brother. You want to take 20 seconds and I go next, just so we could? I mean,
we're not done. Someone else that just joined the panel and he wants to
say. God damn, you the worst host. I swear.
But I didn't really hear the other guy get a full thought out. He didn't even finish his whole thought, did he? Maybe I missed it.
No, I did not.
Oh, go ahead then.
Yeah, let's hear him without any interruption so we can keep in order. Whether we,
Thank you,
I don't
Nepal.
agree with what he's saying, but
God bless Sister Nepal. Really.
Thank you, Nepal.
Well, thank you
for your professionalism.
The point is this. Really, the point is this. Black Americans, descendants of U.S. chattel slaves, historically, up to recent times, we have no allies. Just because we share ancestry with Africans does not make them our allies, just like the Europeans are not our allies just because we share ancestry. And I land my plane.
You crashed it more like.
So welcome to the channel, Bold and wait, I'm sorry, okay. Bold, let's go. Welcome to the panel, Bold. What did you have to say about the subject?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me join the panel. My thing is that I never understood why we got a group of individuals that want to be everything but African. And it just disappoint me. I mean, stuff happens in the past, right? And it happened, but that wasn't, you know what I'm saying, the whole story. Like I heard somebody earlier say, look, you know, even though you might have had some people from Africa that sold you into slavery, they end up becoming slaves themselves. So you got to understand that the European used trickery, and they ain't just did it with Africa. They did it all over the world. They always use trickery even to this day. That you like, if you look at it to this day with the whole Venezuelan, they show videos of Venezuelans celebrating the capture of Maduro, but they don't show you how the people in Venezuela are upset about that. You know what I'm saying? So, and the same thing when it comes to like slavery, or just like they keep us divided just so they could control us. And that's how I look at the whole situation. As long as we sitting up here fighting amongst each other and want to divide each other over there, you just doing the white man's bidding. They just pretty much groomed you into hating each other. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at the whole situation. But I go ahead stop right there.
Just real quick, I just wanted to tell you guys, there's a man by the name of Edward S. Curtis that took, I want to say, up to 40,000 pictures of actual natives all across America from 1890s all the way to the 1920s. So you can actually see that we were not the people that were actually here like that. Yes, some of us were here, but not like that. So just letting you guys know, there's photos, and it's not AI, to actually prove who was here. We got to get out of the self-hatred.
I want to ask you, brother, even though they took those pictures, and you say even though some people was here, ultimately, do these the people that are delineating, do they truly in their heart believe that they emerged like some of the Indian stories out of the caves of America and they never was on any other continent and they're from here?
They believe that, brother. Unfortunately, they believe that.
It's like this, 3% came here that were directly from Africa. The majority of us were already here. And that's just the way it is. If you look at Brazil and South America and the Caribbeans, there's way more slaves over there. So tell me, with all that slavery over there, how come they're not as lucrative as us when there was less slaves, supposedly?
All right,
I can answer that question.
This question, I'll tell you. For
No,
one,
let me answer it, please.
Because we were already over here, bro. That's why.
Part of the reason is this: over there in that part in South America, more slaves went there. First off, and so you're right, but they didn't treat their slaves like the slaves were treated in America. The slaves were literally disposable. We had more of a, healthcare focus and we had breeding farms. Whether people want to come out and say, no, we didn't. A lot of abos, I don't know about FBA, but abos they throw their hands up in the air and get upset when they find that information out. So they didn't really take care of their slaves. They used them up and then let them die. Here in America, they bred slaves. They let them have a semblance of family, even though they broke up a lot of families. So that's the answer. They took better care of their slaves. They had better industry, better structure as far as their commerce system. And look at it today. That's the answer in a nutshell.
So here I have a question. What about the people that were black?
Doubtful.
What about the black people that also owned slaves in the Virginia Commonwealth? There were black people that owned slaves in the 1700s, and they were considered. Were they also the Cherokee that owned slaves? Like, so when we want to talk about slavery, we only want to talk about the white ownership of slaves, but we also had black people that owned slaves as well. I think over 4,000.
Some of us actually paid for the freedom of our of our relatives. So that's part of it too.
So when we want to talk about slavery, that's another thing too. But were they enslaving their own people, or were they enslaving people that were from another continent? And if we say that we were already here, so a certain group of people, class of people that were already here that actually got freed, that were enslaving other Africans, or were we enslaving our own people? I
can answer that question.
All right, go ahead. You go first. I'll go next.
I'll only take 20 seconds, sir. Grace Wisher, who sewn and wove the American flag, as you see, she was 13 years old, 12 years old. she was freed. She was never a slave. Solomon Northrop from 12 Years a Slave. He
That's
was
a great
never
movie.
a slave. He was a freedman first. He was a freedman. He wasn't born into slavery. He got thrown into slavery. He got hoodwinked into slavery. See, there was freed men already circulating, already around while slavery was still being conducted. Get that together. And also, the people in the Caribbeans and elsewhere where there was slavery, yes, their indentured and hardship was just as harsh. However, they negotiated poorly. That's the situation. They negotiated for those flags. They negotiated for the flags poorly.
Understood is that Jamaicans, the sugar cane plantations were some of the most brutal actual plantations in the Caribbean. And
no victim Olympics.
No, people, no, it's not victim. Stop it. Like they were brutal. And people were dying at a very young age on those plantations. So we can't say, oh, okay, well, this is a breeding. We were breeders of slaves, but over here you had people that were like barely living past the age of a certain age.
And I don't want to.
Tragic.
I'm sorry, I cut somebody off. Go ahead.
Conditions of the slave trade in the Caribbean. Some people actually got shipped into the Americas. But I'm saying is that, okay, so if we're saying we were already here, all right, how many of us freedmen were here? And how many of us own slaves? Because if we're so are we talking about FBA? Are we talking about the freedmen, the slave owners, the Republican freedmen? Or is this what this is about?
I want to address that, please, DJ Genesis. With all due respect, and you attempted to raise this same exact point literally on your last stream yesterday. My question is,
every time I do something, you have to go back.
I know, sis. Allow me to finish the sentence, please, respectfully.
Well, this is a whole new day.
Exactly. I'm gonna repeat the same thing I said on the last stream.
After you finish, can I speak?
Yes, brother.
All right.
The point is this: when I asked you yesterday, was your family owned by Black American slaves owners? Pardon me. I asked you yesterday, was your family owned by Black American slave owners? You said you have no evidence that they were. I asked you, do you know any Black Americans whose families were owned by Black American slave owners? You said no. You have no evidence of that. So I'm gonna ask the panelists again. Panelists, were any of your families owned by Black American slave owners? And if not, do you know any Black Americans whose families was owned by Black American slave owners?
I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Do you think Native Americans are Black? I mean, are you an Abo? Because I know some family members that I'm recently finding out that Native Americans owned African slaves in my family.
And Sister Nepal, and I'm gonna even ask you directly. And I said this in the last stream as well. Do you know any Black Americans whose families was owned by Black Native American slave owners?
I got one. I don't know. 3, 4, or 5 right here.
You said your family was. You know somebody that was owned by Black Americans?
Yes, known examples documented is William Ellis, Antoine.
No, I'm saying personally.
We don't know which white ones owned us.
Actually, that's
what? Yo,
exactly. He's lying. As a panel, let's not have ADHD.
He's asking an individual question.
Exactly.
You just know anybody personally that enslaved Black people that's Black? No, we probably don't. But as many as times.
Okay, hold on. One mic at a time, brother. And I'm glad that you were honest just now. That's my point.
He wasn't done the sentence though. He actually had. What was the end of that sentence? I want to hear what the end of that was.
Right, yeah, I was just gonna say most of us don't know either way it go. I can just ask you right now. Can you name one white person that you know that was enslaved Black folk?
Yes, they was on my family tree.
Let me finish.
Brother.
I'm ending the statement. The majority would say no, they can't unless you're red. It's like a small circle that no.
That's true.
And watch how brief my response is. Actually, Sister Nepal, that's not true. On my own family tree, we have white slave owners on the family tree. And I know people that descend from breeding farms in Henderson, North Carolina. With all due respect, we personally know Black Americans whose families were owned by Caucasians. When I ask you the same question, do you know any Black Americans whose families was owned by Black Americans? The answer is no.
Because it wasn't the norm.
Checkmate. So how can we verify that any Black Americans were owned by Black American slave owners?
By going
We don't
into
know
the
any.
studying of the deep museums and finding the name?
And can this evidence be falsified? Yes or no?
Both of them can be falsified.
Checkmate. So if your family wasn't owned by Black Americans and you don't
What
know
I mean
nobody
by
whose
that
family,
is you can
brother,
say it.
allow
That
me
don't
to
mean you
complete
can
the
prove
sentence,
it.
brother. Allow me to complete the sentence, and I'll pass the mic right back to you. I promise. If your own family was not owned by Black Americans, and you don't know any Black Americans whose family was owned by Black Americans, you're speculating that there were Black American slave owners.
Okay, I
Relinquish
can
the floor.
agree to
No,
disagree.
no. There's actual history, and
That's right, but we can agree to disagree.
And it's not
He wants to
verifiable.
hold that
But
in his
there's
show.
not verifiable evidence. I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
go
it's
about
verifiable, but he
they're
doesn't want
not
to accept
verifiable,
verifiable evidence.
we can say the same thing about the
Yeah,
white
he
slave.
doesn't want to accept it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But how long have African descendants?
Hold on. How can we say the same thing about
Hold up,
white
brother. You
slave
just said
owners?
I would have the mic back. You finish. Let me
Yeah,
finish.
go ahead, brother.
How long have African descended people in America called themselves African? This is a chat GPT. From the very beginning of the slave trade, 1400s to 1600s. So miss me with this Jesse Jackson 85 bull crap.
I said
Enslaved
nothing
people
about
did
that,
not
brother.
lose the word African. We used the word. We didn't lose it. They knew they were African. Methodist Church started out here way before Jesse Jackson was even a seed in his father's nutsack. Pause.
Well, just so I'm clear, I never claimed that we don't have African ancestry. Let's not
No, we
speed
have the
past the claim.
most African ancestors.
Brother, allow me to complete the sentence. I'm not even disputing that. What
Okay,
I'm saying
when I'm on
is,
your rocking with
exactly. So mute up, brother.
you. I will.
The point is, we cannot speed past the host's claim. The host is claiming that there were Black American slave owners. But on this panel, allow me to complete the sentence, brother. And I'll pass the mic right back to you or someone else, whoever want to talk after this. On this panel, no one's family was owned by Black American slave owners, and we don't personally know any Black Americans whose families was owned by Black American slave owners. So essentially, we are being told that we shall hold fictitious Black American slave masters accountable that we cannot even verify existed.
That's not true. Okay, you pass the mic back. That's not true.
Hold on. One quick
Everybody on this panel does not know if their family was or wasn't. You have to see, that's assuming. You just assume that. Just because we don't know them by name doesn't mean that it didn't happen, for one.
That means we don't have evidence that it happened.
Done
a logical fallacy, Pan-Africanism. But hold on, real quick. We have a couple of new people that have joined the panel. We have Kev Studders, and we have I'm with Alice. Go ahead, Kev Studders. What do you have to say about the conversation?
Well, first of all, hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hello.
Cool.
Peace, family.
So I came up because I guess like that I was listening to like an older part of the conversation. But I'll still ask my question though. I want to know, why do so many Black Americans care so much about Africa? Why is
We're
that?
from there.
Yeah, exactly. What the?
The slave
Okay, I'll
trade.
answer that. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How come Europeans care so much about Europe?
I don't know. I
That's a
don't
great
care about
rebuttal.
Europeans.
That's a great rebuttal.
Everybody seems to care about themselves, but when it comes to African Americans, we want to come out the sky like La La Land, and we have no roots. We're a rootless, bumbling tree just traveling as one entity. No.
And to the brother with the hat, you just let him out the chokehold because really I got him and they cannot get out of this. How can we verify that there were Black American slave owners?
I got it right here. Antoine Bucklet,
Okay, listen, let me
read this.
Rakufu, my brother,
Oh, no,
you're doing great, Rakufu, you're doing great. I just want to say this ask the brother clearly in his position. Are you saying I forgot your name, the brother from Baltimore, from Maryland.
Pam Mulatto.
What's your name again?
Mulatto for short. Pam Mulattoism.
Don't say mulatto, please. That's a mule.
No,
That's
let
an
him
animal that
do
can't
it. If he
produce
wants to
itself.
call himself mulatto,
All right,
we got to pick our battles. Okay, so Pan, can I call you
Mulatto
Pan?
for sure. No, you call me mulatto. Go ahead.
Mulatto. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, mulatto. Listen, I just want to ask you, are you saying that there were no black slave owners during slavery and even post-slavery, like 1800s?
And I'm gonna
Are you
repeat
saying
what I said
there were?
verbatim. Well, I answer your question. I'll repeat what I said verbatim. What I'm
And
saying
then
is,
I want to respond to you. Go ahead.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What I'm saying is, not only myself, my family was not owned by Black American slave masters. No one on the panel can verify that their families were owned by Black American slave masters. Additionally, no one on the panel knows anyone who was verifiably owned by Black American slave masters. That's my point.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you this logically, because obviously you don't want to talk about the actual historical accounts that have been verified historically. So you don't want to go with that information. I guess you're saying it's wrong or there's some conspiracy. So let me ask you something logical.
Well, you don't have to speculate, but go ahead.
No, there's accounts of Black African slave owners, but I'm not going to touch on that and waste time because obviously you're saying those aren't real. So let me ask you something logically. When a Black slave was freed, when he was established himself or herself as a freeman from the South to the North, I'm giving the scenario, right?
Yes.
You say that was possible, correct?
Definitely.
Okay, stay right there. So logically, as a freeman, they had the right, if they wanted to do so, to own a slave if they wanted to do so. Not in the North.
I'm trying to
but
answer
they
your
had the
question.
right to own slaves, correct?
And it'll only be 10 seconds.
Because you know why I said, but let me take the North.
I won't deflect. I promise you I won't deflect.
I want to clear up my scenario because
All right,
it's getting more. I don't want to say North to South because that'll make things muddy. There were slaves in the South that were freed, correct?
Definitely.
Okay, great. So now forget the North. So those free slaves that were Black, they had the ability to own slaves logically, correct?
Not only did they have the ability to buy slaves, many of the freedmen purchased their family members' freedom. Now go ahead.
Okay, so you agreed that there were Blacks that owned slaves.
But they were not slave masters. There's a difference.
Hold on. Now see right there. This is kind of like a diagnosis, like a doctor saying, "Oh, there's the problem." That's your perception and your idea about a slave master, but you do agree that Blacks own slaves.
So just so I'm clear, and I'm trying to have a dialogue with you for clarity.
I want to hear from him.
Let me have a dialogue with the sister, just for clarity. Are you saying that the Black Americans that purchased their enslaved family members' freedom, are you saying that these are the Black slave owners? Just so I'm clear.
If I purchase a slave, am I a slave owner?
I'm not saying that you're not a slave owner, but what I'm saying is, did you enslave the people that you purchased is the question.
I'm going to answer you. If I purchase someone who is a slave,
exactly.
If I purchase someone who's a slave, the person is still enslaved, correct?
Not necessarily, because they might not have done free labor for you, right?
Let me do this. Do you know that there were white slave owners that favored certain slaves that were pampered? They also had girls called, hold on, listen, this is fact. There were women called fancy girls. They were mulatto, since you call yourself mulatto, they were the Creole, light, high looking, almost white, but they were African slave mother, white father, and they were treated like princesses in that time. Of course, it's still terrible. They didn't work. They got paid. They wore the most expensive clothing. All they did was lay on their backs. And that was mostly in Louisiana. They went shopping. They were treated, they weren't hit, they weren't whipped, because that was they were that merchandise. You couldn't damage the goods. So in that idea, they were still slaves, but they lived a great life compared to others. Of course, it was horrible, but I'm saying on the surface. So I'll ask you again, they were slaves, correct? They were enslaved still, correct?
Definitely.
So if I have a family member,
go ahead, sis.
I'm almost done, Rakufa. I know I took up a long time. I see people hitting the panel. If I'm a free slave and I want to buy my mom and I want to buy my brothers and sisters, are they still technically slaves? And it's going to show that on the record and on the books?
Well, that's not the part that I'm disputing, and that's why I asked.
Gotcha.
And that's why I asked to clear up the ambiguity. Are you saying that the black slave owners that you are referring to are the freedmen that purchased the freedom of their enslaved ancestors?
Okay, let me speak.
No, let her answer, brother.
I'm gonna answer him.
Go ahead,
Let me answer you. The free ones, yes, the free black slaves purchased the non-free black slaves, and let me tell you the real history too. With one particular woman, her name escapes me. She gave slaves the facade. She promoted that she would help them. When she enslaved them, it was worse. She was worse on them than any other black slave owner. Because let's not pretend that black people don't treat black people badly. She was very, very hard on them. She beat them. She starved them. She killed them. She locked them in the basement and in the cellars. And so one of them, she let dogs maul one of her slaves. And that was just one instance. She'll never be worse than the white man. So I want to just put that out there. But she was very harsh on her slaves. So it's logical to see that, yes, you agree. You say that there were black slaves that owned slaves. And I know you have, maybe this idea that they were like you and kind, but no, they weren't always kind.
Hold up, Mulatto. I got to speak to that.
Well, no, please let me clear up, brother. Please, brother, you're in the way right now. Let me say one last statement, brother. Hold on, brother, you're in the way. Brother, you're in the way
because you asked the question.
You're in the way, brother.
You asked me
let me make my closing statement. I'll pass the mic right to you.
No, I won't.
Hey, Rakufu, let him say it. Rakufu,
yeah, he's in the way. Rakufu, you're in the way, bro.
Right here, and the facts is, I asked name one case where a black American slave, when he was free, purchased another black enslaved person and used him awfully as a slave. Name one family.
And I'm gonna answer your question after I address.
South Carolina, where this case qualifies, born enslaved 1790, freed as a young man, became wealthy manufacturing cotton gins, purchased enslaved black people, used them as laborers in a harsh plantation style system, treated them no differently from white slaveholders. So if you're an Ellison out there, family, you better do your research. You might be from that black slave.
I'm gonna address you after I address Nepal. It'll be so brief.
What's your Mulatto? You are going to address him. No. I'm sorry, but I do want to say this. Shout out to Unbiased. My brother is in the chat. He's got your back here, Mulatto. Let me say this. Like people say we sold our own. Why is it so easy to say when we were in Africa we sold our own, but it's hard for y'all to fathom that Negroes here were standing on the necks of other Negroes? It's weird.
Yeah, let me address that. And Sister Nepal, I would address it with one sentence. So basically, you're conceding that my point still stands. When I say we, I'm talking about everyone on the panel. None of our families were forced to do labor, forced enslaved by Black Americans, and collectively, none of us personally know any Black Americans whose ancestors were forced to do labor enslaved by other Black Americans.
Who knows that information right off the top of their head, though?
Listen, hold on. I have to take Pamela down because the chat is full. Man in High Castle wants to come up. And we have other people we want to let them
Who did you take off? You took Pan Mulatto down? We was having a conversation with us.
Yeah, why you take
How are you gonna take the guy who's talking off?
She's biased. That's what it is.
He's the one I want to address.
Okay, but I'm saying we have other people that's in
but he's the
take down somebody who's not talking.
Right now.
I'll come back.
And not somebody who hasn't talked. I mean, not like someone who hasn't spoken yet, but
You can take me off the panel. I just want to ask
Well, no,
one question.
Keith said
What would
first
make
you
you
can
name
take
yourself
off,
mulatto? When we look at the origin of the word, it comes from a beast, a donkey, and a mule.
Man.
When it's born, it can't produce itself.
He
In
knows
various
this.
occasions, it can. Why would you want to be a mulatto? Go ahead, y'all.
Please don't take the. I get your
Yeah.
point about cuckoos on fire. Listen, I want to say this though, for the record, and then I'm really gonna fall back because I see everybody humble. I see you. Listen, I want to make it for the record that I see what the white man is doing. Yeah, I said when I don't mean the white man literally, I'm saying the way his story is being told. They want us to focus on this very, very minuscule percentage of Black slave owners, which weren't anything compared to the European and the white Southern slave owners. I don't think that had any impact on us. We were basically, it's like me trying to blame drug dealers instead of looking at the CIA bringing in the cocaina. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to blame the thug on the corner when I know that the real problem is higher up in the powers that be. So I just want to make that point. So thank you. I'll fall back. I'm going to mute out unless I get triggered.
It's a psyop.
Hold on, real quick. We do have about 3 new people that I was trying to give them a chance. So we have Elder Yawa, we have I'm with Alice, and we have Humble. So what's up, Humble? Welcome to the panel.
Blessings, Sister Genesis. Blessings, Sister Napad. Blessings to the rest of the panel. I appreciate y'all letting me up.
Okay, so let's go with who was first. I'm with Alice was first here, and then we'll go to Elder and then Humble. That's the order that they joined. So let's go.
Hello, everyone. I am concerned because it's going to be hard for me to probably make my point, but I'll say it. Everybody that's Black is not foundational Black Americans, and of course you know that. There were people who owned slaves that had dark skin that were not foundational Black Americans, as well as there was foundational Black Americans that owned other Black Americans, if you will. But it wasn't like harsh slavery. It was more like an employee than what you call slavery. Okay, you could own someone for a little while, and then after a certain amount of time, you had to set them free. There was an order to it. There was an end to it. There wasn't this continued harsh
generational. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
It was different. So comparing the type of brutality that was put upon us to how we operated before all the foreigners came is not fair. It's not a good picture. And yeah, we were here already. Millions of us on this continent, just like millions of Africans were on their continent. I mean, what's wrong with somebody saying that they're not from Africa? It doesn't mean we don't like Africans. It just means we're not from there. My family goes back all the way. Okay, I got Cherokee, Black Cherokee. I mean, it's not fair for you to just be like, well, if you don't say you're African, then you hate your roots. It's just not the truth. It's like telling someone from Sweden that if you deny that you're from Britain, then you just don't like British people. It's just ridiculous. You know, it's like white people can be from different places. Why can't Black people be from different places?
Okay, can I speak to that?
Argument.
Yeah. Before you speak, I wanted to say this, that I want to go into Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson was the first slave. He ran a tobacco farm using indentured servants. One of those servants, John Kaser, would later become one of the first African men to be declared indentured for life. So we can't pretend like we didn't have people that were enslaving people for the rest of their lives. So we did have Black slave owners.
I want to say.
Well, do you know anybody that's descended from his slave?
If
You know
I
anybody
can
that's
get in here,
descended from his
Yeah,
slave?
go ahead, Humble.
How
it's
many
my time, right?
Johnson?
So,
Johnson is the last name, right? And we know our slave owners by the name Johnson are different, like Washington, so and so. So you don't. So we might not know exactly directly, but I would say this: if your last name is Johnson, you might be able to trace that lineage back to that slave owner named Johnson.
Oh, you're speculating. You're speculating.
So can I get in here really fast? Can I get in here really fast?
Can we let Humble come in here? Hit the like button and share the video.
I
Go
want to
ahead,
speak
Humble.
to what Sister Nepal was saying, and I do want to make it clear that the number of the melanated slave owners, the black slave owners that we're speaking about here is very small. I just want to read something if I may, right? Historians note that a small number of free black people own enslaved laborers for economic reasons. In those cases, some did enforce discipline similar to white slave owners.
I want to stop. Do this real quick. Somebody is crackling something in their background and making noise. I want everybody to mute while Humble is talking. Start over again, Humble, because I think that what you have to say is very important. And when everybody talks, please just mute. And then when you gotta say something, then unmute. All right, thank you.
I appreciate you, sis. So I'm gonna start over. Historians note that a small number of free black people own enslaved laborers for economic reasons. In those cases, some did enforce discipline similar to the white slaveholder. However, this group was extremely small. Their holdings were tiny compared to the white planters, right? Their motive varied widely: economic survival, inheritance, or legal constraints. There is no evidence that black slaveholders were more brutal than white slaveholders, and the scale of their ownership was incomparable. Now, I want to read one other small thing, right? Because when we were talking about the small amount of slaveholders, right, one thing we missed out on, and Sister Napaz spoke on a little bit, right, was a large portion of this small portion of free black people who own enslaved people were actually buying their family members. They were buying their spouses. They were buying their children. They were buying their parents, because the law often made manumissions, legal freedoms, extremely difficult. In this case, the enslaved person lived as a free family member, not as a laborer. So they distinct in history when a black person buys a black laborer and when they buy a black family member. I think that's important to note out. I land my plane with that. Thank y'all for allowing me.
Yeah, can I respond? Can I respond before anybody else goes? So let me say this real quick. It's great that I can't hear you, Rakufu.
We got today.
Put down your background. You gotta let it mute off.
Educated. This is an education right here, and we're educating our people. And the brother, we got to think of what mind state he's in, because it says mulatto is a colonial label rooted in dehumanization used to classify and divide people of African descent. If you want, I can show when the U.S. government stopped using it. That's like me calling myself an N-E-I. I mean,
what happened?
R-E-R.
I'm telling y'all, Rakufu can't hear.
I thought that was Yara talking.
No,
I'm talking right now.
Rakufu.
But Rakufu, my friend, brother, I have respect and you are on point. But we don't want to talk about him calling him. So it's like him saying, "I'm the nigga." Like, let it be. Okay. Just let him have his name.
I'll finish with this to the brother. What is this? To Humble.
And then pass the mic back to Yara, please.
Okay, Humble. Are you, Humble,
brother, just make your point. Goddamn.
Humble, are you there?
Just
yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, peace, brother. Y'all hold up. So Humble, what do we do with sisters that came on earlier? How do we, when we trying to learn, when she tells us all this pseudo stuff about millions of blacks on the we just supposed to accept that? How do we combat that?
What do you mean? What millions of blacks?
You told us it was millions of black people. That sister that was talking before in the
pass the mic, brother.
We didn't even get to that part though.
Just pass the mic, brother.
We're at that part. Me asking you, Humble. I'm not talking to them.
Brother, pass the mic.
I yield my time, y'all. I yield my time.
Hey, this is the thing, Rakufu.
So that's why we cow our people.
I don't want you to leave, Rakufu, my friend. You're on point, but you gotta let people. I know what you're saying, but we gotta let Yara was talking. I thought.
Yeah, I was,
thought he was,
but he didn't want to. I mean, he wanted to get his point out. So.
and that's fine, but I don't want to get off track. So hold your thought. Don't leave, Rakufu, but let's let Yara get back on. I'm just kind of co-hosting. Go ahead and say what you need to say about what Humble said or whatever, Yara, and then let's pass the mic. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to say it's an interesting conversation. Actually, a really good conversation and panel tonight. DJ Genesis and you, System, the part y'all got going tonight. I wanted to say that I think we really have to actually look at it. I know we like to, we do like our internet research and we like to read the blurbs and everything, but we really have to look at this Black slavery ownership thing. Sister DJ Genesis, and I see somebody in the chat actually touched on it when they start to begin to talk about Anthony Johnson. I did a paper on that in my first year in law school. And one of the things about Anthony Johnson is if you read his story, he was a indentured servant, right? They didn't really have they had like voluntary servitude. That's how they listed slaves when they came over, if you really want to know. So they would work for a number of years, then you could actually buy your freedom. And that was sort of how it kind of worked. What happened is that when Anthony Johnson, who was from the Congo, bought his freedom from slavery, he actually purchased slaves. He had quite a few of them. I think he had maybe close to 100 slaves. And he was known for being very brutal to those slaves. Everybody knew that, right? This is documented history. You can research it if you actually do the deep dive on Anthony Johnson. What happened was one of his slaves escaped, right? One of his slaves escaped and he ran into a white slave owner. The white slave owner, I forgot his name, Colonel something, took him in and wouldn't return him. And he said, look, he's on my plantation. Now he's working for me and everything's good. And the slave that escaped wanted to be there with the white servant because Anthony Johnson, the Black slave owner, was so brutal. So Anthony Johnson, what he did was, I think the case is called case, and Sister DJ Genesis mentioned it. Y'all actually need to read that case, like in 1655. What he did was he took the white slave owner to court and said, listen, this guy has my slave. He's still indentured to me and he owes me. What happened after that is where shadow slavery begins in this country because the white judge sided with the Black slave owner and labeled him as his property.
Goddamn.
And when he labeled him as his property, this is where indentures, so this is where shadow slavery actually began in this country. Now, when you fast forward, there were slaves, still Black slave owners, right? Two things happened. You had Black slaves that was marrying white women. These white women and these Black slave owners were making money. People didn't like that. Why? Because where the Black man couldn't go, the white woman can go and bring that property back to the house. The second thing was that I think the brother Mulatto mentioned it, and Sister Napadi too, that were Black slave owners, people who had obtained their freedom, were going after and looking for their family members that were separated and paying for their freedom or by purchasing them as slaves and bringing them back to their homes, right? But they still, as Sister Napadi said, they still were considered slave masters or slave owners, even though they were buying their family and friends back, right? Fast forward after that, and I'm summarizing it, fast forward after that, when you get to the 13th Amendment, They outlawed blacks being able to own property, which included slaves. So blacks could no longer purchase slaves because of the 13th Amendment, because they were considered property. And so what happens is, and I'm finna land about 1655, something like that.
And y'all, stay with me when you land, because I want to ask you a question. Go ahead.
Okay. And so what happened? So once they out, so whenever the 13th Amendment was ratified, blacks could no longer own property in this country. That means you could have no more black slave owners. And so when the brother kept asking Mulatto, how come we don't see black slave owners and nobody knows? Because it was outlawed in the 13th Amendment. So nobody going that far back would have a black slave owner being a black slave master who was black.
Okay, y'all right.
That's why you wouldn't see that historically. So,
and after he goes, I want to
y'all right. So my thing,
listen. I'm sorry. I'm with Alice. I have to because there's 3 other people waiting in the background. So I just had to drop you down real quick. And we have a new member on the stage. So his name is the Algorithm Unfiltered. So welcome to the stage.
All right, can I finish with him?
Please go ahead, Rocco. It's your time.
So Yara, only pushback, and I don't have nothing on what you said, but when you came from this, that's why I asked what time, because from the chat it says that the family, the Ellison family, he followed the Johnson mentality. He wanted to dog and humiliate his people. He would do the slave system, and he supported the Confederation. And it says known historically as the Ellison family of South Carolina. By the 1840s, Ellison owned 50 to 60 enslaved black people. So it even had it up to 1840.
Yeah, that's well. I don't. Well, when you say 1840, you got to look when the 13th Amendment was ratified.
When was it?
It might have been. It might have been around that time.
Yeah. Just all you have to do,
we can go from that.
Ask when the Constitution was amended, had the 13th Amendment added. That's what you can Google.
Yeah,
I will. But my point would be that we had a family called the Ellisons who supported the Confederate.
I agree with you, Rakufu, though, because what we know historically is a lot of those black slave owners. Yeah. A lot of those black slave owners were very hostile and were very brutal to the black slaves that they own.
Please let me in after whoever's next. Please let me.
Yeah, we know that not all of them like that, but the percentage was small because like I said, the 13th Amendment kind of shut it all down. I think somebody just posted it when it ended or something like that.
Can I respond to it?
Peace. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was in here, man. Peace to everybody. Shalom.
Shalom.
Can I respond to what the brother said about the Johnson case, about Johnson suing Parker?
Yeah. That's his name. That's
you can respond to that, and then the next person's Algorithm Filter.
So the court case is not how the brother presented it. There is no historical record about Johnson being a harsh slave owner at all. The reason why Kaser, and Johnson went to court, was because Kaser felt as though he had served his time on Johnson's plantation. It had nothing to do with him from running away from being harsh and beaten or anything like that. This was a legal matter, dealing with the slave thinking that he served his time and Johnson thinking that he had him for a lifetime of a servant. That's what that dispute was about. It had nothing to do with Johnson.
Well, actually, you have to read the court case, sir, because he actually testified that
out there.
You have to actually read the court case because it is still on record, and he testified that he would not let him go. That's why he ran away. He would not let him go past his time of indentured servitude, and he was brutally beating him. You have to read the court case.
But one thing that you omitted.
Algorithm Filter is next. Go ahead.
Oh, damn. Well, I called the spot in the line.
There's an order? I didn't know there was order. All right, but that's good. There should be order.
Yeah, let me go after him then. Go ahead, brother.
All right, you guys. We like to sit here and tell each other that we didn't come from Africa and all this other stuff.
Can you speak up a little bit? It's hard to hear you.
We hear you, bro. We hear you, bro. Go ahead.
All right. So we like to say that we're we're indigenous to this particular land here that's now considered the United States of America. When we all do come from Africa, we got here various ways, but also understand that the Caribbeans was a depot. So they had people coming from, they had them picking up people for the Caribbean, such as Haiti and all the other Caribbean locations, and dropping them off to New Orleans. Proof of that is what New Orleans stands for right now, pretty much the Creole people. And then you also had slave ships. You also had some slave ships. Don't say no. Do research before you say
It's
no.
all right, brother.
Like,
Let him
'cause
land
at
his
the end
plane.
of the day, it's best to do research before you do that. Now, what ends up happening is we got here plenty of ways. Now, what you guys are speaking of when you say that you're indigenous to this particular land is the Berlin Land Bridge. Literally, the Berlin Land Bridge that connected Siberia, Asia, and Alaska, and that was exposed when it was a low sea level. That was during the last ice age. That's what you guys are referring to when people migrated here and they used the Rocky Mountains to actually get towards here. Those are the indigenous people that you're speaking of. But once they started bringing slaves down here, it was a mixture of all people. So you had people probably who considered themselves here from chattel slavery that was ported from actually the Caribbeans to come over here to do farming. Now those people currently, of course, was separated through slavery to various states, and it became what it was. Because let's not forget, Haiti was the first place that got their freedom. And from that particular point, it made them sell the Louisiana Purchase because of that, because they didn't have no money to actually afford it. So they sold it on pennies of the dollars. So we like to separate ourselves, which we shouldn't. The history repeats itself. The only time a movement literally works is when everybody comes together. Hence the feminist movement. When it was just a white woman, what ended up happening is now it's all women. Hence the LBG community. When it was just them focusing on one particular letter, now it's all the letters. So when you come together, that's when you become powerful. But when you want to sit here and separate yourself from this land and that particular land, you're going to continue to go through the same thing past people have went through. So if you want to have a real movement, you're going to have to connect and stop separating.
Great commentary. And yes, the war tied to Hades and Napoleon, why the European War is the
After
main
playing
reason we
mulatto,
stole
I'm
the
next.
Louisiana territory.
And brother, with all due respect, one thing that has been omitted about Anthony Johnson was Angolan. He was not Black American. And since we have new guests on the panel, I'm gonna ask the new guests on the panel the same exact question that I received a note to. Of the Black Americans on the panel, were any of your families owned by Black Americans and forced to engage in forced, uncompensated labor? Any of you?
This
No.
is G. This is G. I'm new to the panel. I'm gonna say, as far as I know, in the history that I've been doing in my family, I can't find any traces of any of my family being owned by Black Americans.
Yes, sir. None of us can, but we are being.
G, go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
What the rest of your point is? What you think?
Me? I can talk?
Yes, you can. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much, Queen. As far as slavery, this is my 2 cents. I'm not against what anybody's saying because everybody has their view, their opinions, their facts. Everybody got their own references. So as far as me, because I claim, being Semitic, I claim to be a Hebrew. So when the Europeans went to Africa, they seen that there was two almost the same color of people enslaving each other. So they didn't know the difference. So that's how they grabbed everybody, including Muslims, everything. They brought everything over here, Christopher Columbus and them. So the thing is, Nubians had Hebrews in captivity. So when the Hebrews ended up being spread all over the world, according to the scriptures, because we got it's not just the Bible. There's many other records about this. they say that the so-called Negro, the Latinos, and the Native Indians, they all Semitic. And when you're called a Semite, that means you either Hebrew or you an Arab. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand the 5%ers, you know, a Nation of Islam, they have their own ways, their own thoughts. You know, but as you notice, we trying to stick together. We want to be together because we're family.